Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Stand with the Multitude of Thy Sorceries. And pretty much this is a direct quote from the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. And pretty much, this is pretty much what's out there, in this society. And it's not really hidden. It's out in the open. But the problem is that most people out there, especially Jake, don't know how to read the signs of things that are going on out here today. And what it's causing is it's causing them to be bewitched. So what you have in front of you is a book called Wicca, Book of Spells. It says the ultimate book of shadows for the solitary practitioner, a guide for beginners, for beginner Wiccans, witches, pagans, and practitioners of magic. And it's written by Athena Crowley. Now, I don't know, and you see in the middle of it, you got Baphomet and many other demonic symbols on there. Now, I don't know if she's related to Aleister Crowley, the devil that he is, but this is pretty much what you see in this society. Whether it's in entertainment, news, politics, finance, churches, you have a lot of demonic influence in all aspects of society, in this society. And pretty much, Lord's will, that's what we're going to discuss in this lesson. And pretty much there's a lot of spell casting going on. And that spell casting is going on in the form of, different things that are done here in America and around the world, because this is not just set here in America. This is a worldwide event, because remember, it's going to be a new world order. It's not going to be a new country order. It's going to be a new world order. Speaking of Aleister Crowley, I have something here. A direct quote from him. That's the devil right there, as you can see. It says, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Aleister Crowley. And pretty much that says it all, because that's pretty much what witchcraft, sorcery, wizardry, whatever you want to call it, boils down to. You could do and be whatever you want to be, whoever you want to be. You could have sex with whoever you want to have sex with. You could just be a total degenerate, because that's where they get their power from, the left-hand side. And the Heavenly Father created both. So the left-hand side is strong because the Heavenly Father allowed it to be strong, because it's a part of Him, so to speak, because He created it. But the ultimate strongest is the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And then you have, I had another picture, I'm not sure, here it goes. This demon here, Jay-Z, which is one of the top demonic wizards among the rappers out there, that's pushing that heavy. Now he got some crazy vines or roots or whatever the hell that shit is growing out of his head. They told him to do that. He didn't want to do that, because he's pretty much, since you've seen him out going way back to Hawaiian Sophie, and even before that, he always had a low haircut. Now why all of a sudden he got that crazy shit in his hair? Because they told him to do that. So on this sweatshirt you see here, it says, "What do what thou wilt," which goes back to Aleister Crowley. Because at the end of the day, these celebrities, whether they're singers, rappers, whether they're dancers, whether they're comedians, whether they're actors or entertainers, athletes, or whatever the case may be, they're all linked in. And the ones that don't want to be linked in, they get ostracized. You hear about all these different weird things going on behind the scene, these mansion parties and all that other crap that goes on. Well, there's testimony from individuals that have actually done that, you know. So I'm just looking for something real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. This right here, let's see it. Just bear with me 1 second. This right here comes from a movie, Eyes Wide Shut. And this is actual, these are actual rituals that go on, you know, behind the scenes. And this is an actual mansion. You know, what did he see when he went inside that mansion? He saw people having sex, whether it was men and women, whether it was orgies, whether it was men with men or women with women. They all have, these devils have satanic, holy, so-called holidays, satanic holidays. You know, you have this devil here in the center. They all have masks on. They all have capes on. You know, they have, some of them wear different colors to distinguish who they are. They're in a circle. You know, so there's a lot of demonic shit going on in the world today. You know? And that's not by coincidence. And what they're doing is with these spells, because these are nothing but magic spells, whether it's entertainment, whether it's your church, which is nothing more than an extension of entertainment. It's all the same thing, and it's done to what? To cast spells on the people. You have a term that I used earlier called bewitched. So to bewitch is enchant and delight, cast a spell over someone. See? So pretty much that they're casting spells over people for the purpose of what? To enchant them, to possess them, you know, to put a hex on them. Entrance is what? Entrance of those demons. Because the reason why they make you do certain things in the society in order for you to make it is that opens a door to those demons to possess these individuals, you know, and they're possessed by those demons. That's why whenever they're not in character, for the most part, they're not comfortable with themselves. Like that devil I'm not about to say Johnny Gill, Johnny Depp. You know, he said he's not comfortable with himself because he's really, you know, I guess you could say he's a worm, you know. And if he happened to be watching, he's probably shaking his head. Yeah, he's right. You know, because he doesn't like himself. So that's why he takes all these different roles so that he can escape from himself in these different roles and assume them spirits. All right. You also have something called smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors is defined as something that is described as smoke and mirrors is intended to make you believe that something is being done or is true when it is not. And when they show you these different movies and these actors, they show you the glamour of it. And that's why in those videos they show you the glamorous ways that these people live. You know, the money that they spend, the women that they're around, you know, the opportunities that they get. But they don't show you all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. See? They're not showing you that. They're just showing you the outside of the benefits you can get after you go through all these different rituals. But they don't tell you about the rituals until you get in there. So what I wanted to do is go, because I was reading this earlier, the book of Revelation 17. And, you know, there were some things in there that were said that, you know, prompted me through the Spirit to do this lesson. So Revelation 17:1, there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So who is this great whore that sitteth upon many waters? Well, first and foremost, let's identify what the many waters are. When we jump to the 15 verses, and he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So it's pretty much what comprise the world. I mean, it's dealing with specifically with America and the so-called melting pot here in America, but the influence of America has pushed out throughout the whole planet Earth. And that's why it says here, the great whore. And she's sitting upon these people. Why? Because she has an influence on them. Let me look up this word whore. Look up this word whore. And she's not just a whore, she's a great whore. So in other words, she is skilled in the acrobatics of whoreism. So the word is porne, where you get the word pornography from. It says a woman who sells her body for sexual uses, a prostitute, a harlot, one who yields herself to defilement for the sake of gain. See? This applies to men or women. Because what it is they're allowing themselves to be defiled. They're putting their morals to the side in order to receive gain. And what did Yahushua say about gain in the world? What is that, Matthew 16? Matthew 16 and 24. Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Why? Because this world, as we've read in scripture, is given to these demonic forces. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The people that are ruling are being run by demonic spirits. That's why Ephesians the 6th chapter says that we've wrestled not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. So Matthew 4 and 1, then was Yahushua led up of the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, right? And we know what happened. He was fasting, and Satan came to him with scriptures, trying to tempt him so that he could do what? He can bow down to Satan. So when we read the 7th verse, it says, Yahushua said unto him, it is written, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy power. Then it says, again, the devil taketh them up into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, meaning all of the splendor of these different kingdoms, the riches, the wealth, the benefits, the goodies. It says, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Now in the book of Luke, right? This is the one I like to go to because it goes into a little deeper. It says in Yahushua, Luke 4 and 6, and the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. See, so it was given to him, it was delivered to him, and he's going to give it to whom he will, but you have to do something. If thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine. So basically what he's doing or saying is that you have to sell your soul. So Yahushua goes on in Matthew 16:25, says, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. See? For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world, which is what they promised these individuals, these jakes. We're just dealing with jakes. We're not even concerned with the other nations. And lose his own soul. So let's read that again. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Because you have these artists that sell their soul and then they try to take it back. You can't. It's too late. You already sold your soul. That's why you see them trying to get out of it and they're in shambles. Because them demons are tearing them apart. And the devils that they sold out to, the physical devils that they sold out to, are making their life a living hell. Because they're trying to bite the hand that feeds them. And there's no way out of it. All right, so what do we got here? All right, so dealing with the word whore, a prostitute or harlot, one who yields herself to defilement for the sake of gain. Any woman indulging in unlawful sexual intercourse, whether for gain or for lust. Metaphorically, of idolatress, of Babylon, an example, Rome, see, the chief seat of idolatry, which really, this Babylon is dealing with America. America is Babylon the Great. All right, now there's another word that I had looked up. It wasn't in this one, but Lord's will, it'll come up. So this is the great whore that sitteth upon many people, or many waters, which are the many peoples of the world, beginning with here in America, the great melting pot, and then the influence of America stems through the four corners of the earth. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, meaning that these leaders of these nations have went to bed with America, had taken on her ways, beginning with their democracy and their way of being, their morals, you know, their customs, so on and so forth. That's why you see these countries around the world looking just like America. That's why at one time people didn't want to go to these places, because they become homesick. Now you go to all these different places around the world, you feel at home because everything is built just like America. The only thing you would really miss is the faces of the people here, you know, that you consider to be dear to you. It says, and the inhabitants of the earth, not just of America, the inhabitants of the earth, everyone on the planet, and I'll say this, including the elect, until they wake up, because we were all caught up out there. You know, Lord's will, we are the elect, you know, but even the elect get caught up out there, but the Lord makes something happen to where they don't go full ham, so to speak, you know. So it says, but because the elect are sealed, they're protected, and the Lord makes something happen at a particular time to bring them away from that. So it says, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of a fornication, and this is intoxicating to the world. That's why when you speak to the people of the world, they're when they speak to you, they're pretty much they're drunk off of the philosophies of America. So everything is about this place. Everything is about the talk of America, the things that America does. So it says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. Now this woman is the same woman, the same harlot, the same whore. And the scarlet-colored beast represents the dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, which the Apostle John saw many times in the book of Revelation, which is a representation of all the European empires, beginning with the Greeks and ending with the British. You had the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, Germanian Major, Germanian Minor, and Britain, the British. Those are the 7. And out of those 7, there happened to come out an 8th head. And that 8th head is America, which is the same whore, which is the same woman that's sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, because the scarlet-colored beast is carrying her. She's the one that sets policy. Although the other nations, you know, the other so-called European nations outnumber America, and it's supposed to be a democracy where the people rule, so the majority rules, but whatever America says goes. So if the majority of people are against something and America wants it, guess what's going to get passed? What America wants. And they're pushing this sorcery on the world. Because what the so-called international bankers have done is they've used America to pretty much ensnare the world into this one world government, new world order. It says, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Yeah, those names of blasphemy is that they're the Most High, that they're Yahushua, that they're the angels, that they're the Israelites, you know, that they're the so-called Christians, or the true Hamashiachim are the followers of Yahushua. Not this plantation Christianity you see taught out here today. It says having 7 heads and 10 horns, and if you read further down, it explains to you what those 7 heads and 10 horns are, and it's not talking about the devil. When we read Revelation, the 20th chapter, it identifies this beast, you know, with those 7 heads and 10 horns. See, but people don't understand because it's not given to everybody. It says, and the woman, America, was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Yeah, that's why she's known as a golden city. And this is why when John saw her, he was thrown back because of the beauty of this woman that he saw. But that's the allure, you know, like a beautiful woman. You looking like, keep it real. The shorts on on Google. I'm sorry, on YouTube. Those different videos you have shorts. You know, they're called shorts, right? The only reason why men watch it is because they'll see a woman with a big fat ass or some big ass titties or you know, slim waist or whatever the case may be, you know, and they're looking at it and they click on it because of the woman. And they find out it's some dumb shit, but the woman's showing her assets, so to speak. You know, that's alluring. So that's what the ways of America are like. They're alluring to the average person out there. You know, even the elect. Because it says if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect, but the Lord pulls the elect away from all of that. You see? Because you got to remember, the elect are in the world too. You know, and Jake's whole mentality is what? About making it in this society. You know, trying to make money in whatever avenue they can to live a better life. Not knowing all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. They're just thinking average because that's what we were all taught, that, you know, if you work hard, if you have a skill, if you build on that skill, you know, you'll be able to make money off that skill and then be able to live, you know, a decent life. But then when you go in there, inside joke, you find out that this is the furthest thing from the truth. It's not about talent. It's about doing things. So going back, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand. And what is this golden cup in her hand? This golden cup in her hand is a representation of something that she's going to give for the people to drink. I just want to look up something real quick. I don't want to mess that up. So, because I know there was something in here that I had looked up and it had brought something out to me. No, that wasn't it. Let me just check something else. Just bear with me 1 second. Sons of bitches. All right. That's not it. There was something else. I'm trying to find it now because right. Okay. I found it. Now we're going to read this and then we're going to come right back to this. All right. So it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So what is the abominations and filthiness of her fornication? It's all of the things that you have to do in order to receive those benefits, those goodies. Hold on for 1 second. All right. So in order for you to get it, you don't have to. But if you don't do what they say, you don't get the benefits that they offer. Because didn't Satan tell you, Yahushai, in Luke, the 4th chapter, and the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will I give it. If thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine. So, in essence, what are they doing? They're really forcing people to do this in order for those people to benefit. And that's where this other word comes in, which we're gonna, I'm sorry, was it this? No. No, it was Nahum. Nahum. Let's go to Nahum. Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. And this was dealing with ancient Nineveh back then. Now it's dealing with America. All right. The prey departed now. Who is the prey? The prey are the Israelites. And we still have not departed out of this devil's hands. And what they did was they made it seem like they let us go by deception or by something known as smoke and mirrors. Something that is described as smoke and mirrors is intended to make you believe that something is being done or is true when it is not. The Emancipation Proclamation released the slaves, ended slavery. No, it didn't. Emancipation Proclamation, all it did was it proclaimed the slaves in the South to be free from their southern plantation owners and be given to the northern plantation owners under the guise of, slavery being abolished. But then comes in the 14th Amendment, where pretty much makes you subject to the jurisdiction of the so-called United States, which is really 10 miles square in D.C., which that goes into a whole another topic, and what it does, it binds people contractually through your birth certificates, driver's licenses, social security cards, and so on and so forth. Those are called adhesion contracts that bind you to the so-called American government, which pretty much makes us all a slave. All right. So it says the North. So we're still in their hands. That's why it says in Exodus 21:16, if a man be found in his hand, he shall be surely put to death. And that's why the great judgment is coming to America, which the angel was showing the Apostle John, the great judgment on of the great whore. And then it says here, doom of Babylon. Right? So it goes on to say, the noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. Back then, that was ancient way vehicles to get around. Today, you could use this for the cars today. The jumping chariots and all of that. These are cars today, because the modern day chariot from back in the day are the cars. That's how they got around back then. That's how you get around today. You have under the hood, what? Horsepower. Is there actual horses under there? No. It says the horseman lieth up, both the bright sword and the glittering spear. The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. Now this today is a representation of the missile capabilities. And there is a multitude of slain, because it's going to make a lot of people, kill a lot of people. And a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses, because it says that the slain of the Lord shall be many. But this is the point right here. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. So what is a well-favored harlot? You have harlots out there, but you have favorite among the harlots, and then you have well-favored. It's like when you go to a brothel, they have, there's whatever they call it, and then the person goes there, and there's always this one chick or two that are, you always see them in the hallways, because nobody really picks them that much. But then you have this one chick, every time you go there, you never really see her, one or two of them, because they're well favored, and they're constantly on rotation in those rooms from these different men, because they like the way they look, or they like the way they smell, or they like the way her ass, is shaped, or they like the way she do her thing, whatever. Well, that's what America is like. She's a well-favored harlot. We look at the word well-favored. It's two words. The word tawab, which means good, and you also have the word khan, which is where you get grace. Favor, grace, charm, elegance, acceptance, favor. So she's favored, but she's well favored, goodly favored. And then we have the word harlot. And the word harlot from the Hebrew word zanah, salaki for that, to commit fornication, be a harlot, play the harlot. And fornication does not mean premarital sex. Fornication, if it's spiritual, it's bowing down to idols. If it's physical, it's adultery. And that's it. Play the harlot To be a harlot, act as a harlot, commit fornication, to commit adultery. That's really what it is. To be a cult prostitute. And pretty much Jake in the world, when they sell out, that's all they are nothing more than cult prostitutes, whether male or female. Jay-Z is a cult prostitute, but he's a well-favored cult prostitute, but he's well-favored by the international bankers and by the masses. Beyonce is another one. You know? And that's a match made in hell. You know, and you have many other cult prostitutes out there. And they do things behind the scenes. You know, just like you see in this picture, Eyes Wide Shut. They do things behind the scenes. If you haven't seen this movie, Eyes Wide Shut, I suggest you see it. And then you're going to see that in this scene here, you're going to see all of the demonic shit that goes on behind closed doors. And these things actually happen. They also brought it out in The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp. You know, but they didn't really go in depth, I don't think so. But they did show the people that was arrayed in this fashion. I'm not sure if they had black hoods on or white hoods. I don't remember. You know, but they were bucket naked underneath those things, because once they do whatever they do, they get involved in the sexual rites or sexual acts to appease the so-called gods that they're worshiping. And that's why the scriptures say, thou shalt not have a sodomite among the children of Israel, or a harlot among the daughters of Israel. You know, it's not talking about, I mean, although you could apply for that, but they're really talking about cult prostitutes. And that's the reason why Phinehas killed that Jake and that Midianite woman, because that Jake wasn't just having sex with a woman of another nation. He was doing cult prostitution. And the Most High was angry. And when Phinehas did that, it appeased the anger of the Lord. So there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes that these devils have incorporated into America since the foundation of this place. That goes all the way back to the beginning. You know? It goes all the way back to the mystery religions of Babylon, to Egypt, to Sumer. And everything you see going on right now, all of these nations have it. Every nation has a priesthood. Every cult has a priesthood. Everything. See, people thinking that the priesthood is just the Levitical priesthood. No, it was more than that. All of these nations have a priesthood. And that's where they practice certain rites. And that's where they say, the Lord said, look, when you go into the land, make sure you don't do after the men of these nations, because that's the reason why I'm kicking them out of the land in the first place. Because of the abominations that they're doing. So don't be emboldened when you see that to do that. And what did Jake do? Went right ahead and did what the Lord told him not to do. And you got that going on today. And no matter how much you tell Jake, they still sell out. So going on, it says to be unfaithful to the Most High. That's the harlot. To play the harlot. To cause to commit adultery. But this is the one I wanted to get. To force into prostitution. See? You want to live good? You want to have the goodies? Well, you have to be forced into this thing. Do things you wouldn't normally do in order to get the goodies. Do as thou wilt, or do what thou wilt. Remember what Satan told Yahushua, that all this was delivered to him, and he's going to give it to whom he will, but there has to be a bowing down to him. Give up all of your morals, give up all of your beliefs, just to get that mighty dollar, which is being devalued by the day. All right? So that was the point there. So let's go back and read this chapter, this verse. Because of the multitude, this is Nahum 3 and 4, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored hearted. So there's multitudes of this stuff going on. Remember, it's a worldwide event. It's not just in America, it's around the world. The mistress of witchcraft. Now, what is the word mistress? The word mistress is nothing more than a feminine way of saying master. And what is a master of anything? A master of anything is someone that has had so much experience in that field that they've become a master. They don't just know how to do the job. They know how to do the job well. They know how to do it backwards. They know how to do it forward. They eat, drink, sleep whatever it is that that skill asks for. So America has been the mistress of witchcraft because they've mastered the art of witchery or sorcery or whatever you want to call it from all them different empires till today. And that's why in order for you to make it, you gotta bow down. You know? It says, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. Yeah, because that's what they do. And this is why you have, they literally sell, but you have individuals, especially with Jake, that sell their children, sell themselves and their children to this. Look at the whole Smith family. You know? Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Jaden Smith, Willow Smith, a bunch of degenerates. And pretty much what Will and Jada did was they made their children to pass unto Molech in the fire. They didn't literally do it like they did in the past of actually sacrificing their children in the fire, but they did sacrifice their children in the fire because their children are going to be destroyed. Because of the lifestyle that they lived, that they pushed upon their children. And their children didn't want to go into that lifestyle. I think it took a little more to convince this guy Jaden than probably the daughter, because there was times where Will Smith tried to kiss his son in the mouth, and he was not trying to have that shit. You know? Shit, you don't kiss your daughter in the mouth. Kiss her on the cheek, on the head. Same thing with the son. I'm not big on that, people kissing their children in the mouth. You know? Here this woman just finished blowing rod and then she kissing the child in the mouth. What kind of fucking bullshit is that, man? I never was a proponent for that. Never liked it. Never me. You know, even my mom, when I was little, she tried to kiss me in the mouth. I turned my face and just let her kiss me on the cheek. You know? So, all right. So it says, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. And this is what we see going on right now. The skirts are being pulled over this whole America's face. And I will show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame. And this is what we see going on right now, because now they're starting to see like the exposure, the things that they sold out for. The truth is coming out, or what really is going on. You know, the real. And it's not looking too good for America. You know, Salaki for a minute. So that's where we're at right now in prophecy with it. They're being exposed. It says, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile and will set thee as a gazing stock. Because eventually the gazing stock that it's going to be is America's going to be up in flames. You know, but the Lord has to first expose this hole before he could actually do that. You know? Let's look up this word gazing stock. The word gazing stock is ra'ah or ra'aya, which is just to see, looking, appearance, seeing, sight, seeing, appearance, sight, spectacle. But with something, when you're gazing at something, you're gazing at it with a gaping mouth, like in awe, like, oh shit, you know, I can't believe it. A person or thing gazed at by many, especially with curiosity or contempt, and that's how they're gonna look at this place. Now, the merchants are going to be saddened, not because she went down, but because they're not going to be able to sell their wares here. There's a difference. All right? And then we look up the word gazing, or gaze. Gazing looks steadily and intently, especially in admiration, surprise, or thought. See, like the Apostle John looked at America. But in this case, the gazing stock, they're gonna look at it like in a manner of awe, like, oh shit, the Lord really did it, you know. And before that, they're gonna be looking like, you mother, you know. It says, and it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. And this happened to ancient Nineveh, but this is gonna happen to America, because America did not go out by fire. I'm sorry, Nineveh did not go out that in that fashion that America is gonna go out by, which is thermonuclear destruction. Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek comforters for thee? Yeah, because there's not going to be anyone to take up lamentations for this place. Like I said, the other nations, they're going to be lamenting, not because this place is destroyed and they're going to feel sorry for it, but they're not going to be able to sell their wares anymore. There's a difference. All right. So now let's go back to Revelation 17. And let's go to the 5th verse now. It says, Revelation 17:5, and upon her forehead was a name written. On whose forehead? This harlot's forehead. Mystery, because it was a mystery for a long time who this was speaking about. But when the Lord sent out his prophets, now they know fully who this is speaking about. So it says Babylon the Great. This is the first part of it. Babylon the Great. Babylon means confusion. This is the greatest conglomeration of confusion on the planet. You can worship whatever you want here. You can call on whatever God you want. You can do whatever you want here. You know, worship-wise. Anything that you want, you could do here. And then it's the place, you know, where you have all, I mean, I don't think there's a nation on the planet Earth that is not here in America. There's probably not a spoken language that is not spoken in America. So it says the mother of harlots. Why is she the mother of harlots? Because you can worship anything you want to worship. You know, and they push everything. They even have, you know, satanic churches you could go to, Wiccan churches you can go to. They're incorporating Christianity with Wicca, which is the religion of witches. It says, and abominations of the earth, because here you can have sex with animals, you can have sex with the same gender. You know, men can be with men, women can be with women. You can have menage a trois, and you can have, you know, one woman getting freaked off by 10 men, orgies, all of that. And then when you break each one of these down, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and abominations of the earth, in the Hebrew, I believe in the, I think the in mother of harlots has to be moved out, and the of in abominations of the earth. I forget, I haven't done that in a while. But each one of these phrases here breaks down to a 6. And when you put it all together, 666. This is the number of that man. This is the number of the beast. You know? So this place is finished. Then when we jump to the 8th verse, it says, the beast that thou sawest was. Who was this? This was America. And it's not. Why? Because it was in the vision, but it wasn't in the Apostle John's time. And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is where? Europe. And go into perdition. What does it mean, perdition? Destruction. Because since America was begun as the 8th head from the 7th head, which was Britain, from that very moment it was being built up to be destroyed. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. See? So once this place is established, the people of the world of the earth are going to wonder. Why? Because this is that harlot. This is the one that had the cup with all those abominations. This is Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And all these different nations, all these peoples are going to be wondering after the harlot. Matter of fact, let's look up that word wonder. Let's see what it says for wonder. And then we'll go back and read that again. The word wonder is thaumazo. To wonder at, marvel, be wondered at, to be had in admiration. And you can't tell me these nations don't have America in admiration, because if they didn't, then you wouldn't have all of these things around the world that mimic America. They wouldn't have made a duplicate of America if they didn't admire this place, the Golden City. So let's read that again. It says, "And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, see, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world." Yeah, because the elect will be protected. But if it was possible, the elect will get caught up in it. Because remember, we were all here. We're all here. Hopefully we're part of the elect. Hopefully we are the elect. And everybody's mind pretty much was geared to what? To trying to make a better life for themselves. Not knowing the inner workings of this place and the things that you have to do. Salaki for 1 minute. All right. Then it says, "When they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is," which is America. And it's not a coincidence that this place was set up the way that it is. And just looking at New York City, you know, that is the epitome of, you know, of this golden city. You know, let's see something here. That's why that song American Woman was about America. It had nothing to do with an actual woman. You know, it's dealing with America and those shiny lights, you know, the glitz and the glamour. That whole smoke and mirror, you know, way in which they pretty much sparkled in these nations' eyes and mesmerized them, bewitched them. You know, they bewitch these nations. Look at that. When you walk down there, you know, you be mesmerized. Now imagine people that have never been here. You know, they just heard about it. And you know how tales are. Tales are, you know, they're very exaggerated. What they call tall tales. You know, so let's go from there. Let's see what else we got. Where are we at now? All right, let's go from there to, let's see what else we got here. We still haven't hit Isaiah 47. Let's go to Isaiah 47. I'm probably skip around a little bit in that chapter. Isaiah 47, they want to come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Why? Because you were sitting as a queen at one time. Don't it say that in Revelation 18? And you know, Israelite women out there calling themselves queen don't understand where that term comes from. Because even Shahrazad Ali, I believe her name is Salaki if I butcher the name. You know, I mean, I know who she is. I've seen her before. You know, I'm not always the greatest with names, so forgive me for that. But she called herself. She said that the black women are queens. If they understood what the word queen meant, they wouldn't call themselves that. You know, because the word queen comes from it was spelled Quean, which means harlot, prostitute. So you wouldn't call yourself that. Now you could call yourself a princess, you know, but not no queen. Revelation 18:7. How much she hath glorified and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And you could do the experiment yourself. Type in queen. You know, it may take you a little bit of time to get it, but you'll see eventually. You know, it goes into the word prostitute. And you could look in the etymology online if you want, and you'll get it there. All right. So it says, sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Yeah. So you, America, you're the virgin daughter of Babylon, because you're Babylon the Great. You need to sit on the ground. You know? Well, actually, the name Zerubbabel literally means destroyer of Babylon. Doesn't mean seed of Babylon. It means destroyer of Babylon. Yep, like who most are queens, like with an A, they're queens. You know, if that's how you pronounce it. So it says, take the millstone and grind meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the river. They're being made naked. All right, and how they're being made naked, the Lord is using the prophets to expose them and to show the real true purpose of them. So it says, verse 5, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness. Yeah, because the scriptures say that America had the great mouth, speaking great things and blasphemy. So now you got to sit in darkness because you can't spew that garbage out your mouth, out your pie hole anymore. O daughter of the Chaldeans, because you are the daughter of the Chaldeans, you're the daughter of Babylon, you're the virgin daughter of Babylon. For thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. See? Because you're going to be brought down. That mistress of witchcraft and all that, that's going to cause you to fall. It says, I just want to jump to the point, verse 7. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Yeah, because everything that you do has a consequence. So you didn't consider that at your very end you would have to pay for all of the wickedness you did. What you did is you thought the Most High was with you, and you kept doing wickedness. And when you saw that you weren't being punished for it, you just kept continuing on in that wickedness. Now it's time to pay. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasure, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorcery. So pretty much you're going to be judged for all of the wickedness that you've done. Hold on one second. All right. It says, oh, here we go. It says, queen or queen. Learn to pronounce, says, impudent or ill-behaved girl or woman, a prostitute. And that's what the scriptures speak about, a woman that is well learned or trained or something like that, a mind well instructed. And that's why the young women are supposed to be instructed by the older women on how to behave themselves. And that's why that demon got her father killed, because she was being a loose slut. And he was trying to show her some culture. You know, he was trying to, show her that there's a better way than that. Because she should carry herself as a lady. It says queen sounds eerily like Quayan or Cain in the Hebrew. Yeah, but it's different. But I know what you're saying. It says, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So your sorceries and your enchantments is what's going to give you the reward of destruction. When we look up the word sorcery, it's nothing more than witchcraft. Enchantments, those are nothing more than witchcraft. These are spells that are being casted on people. You have the word kashap, which is sorcery, witchcraft. And that's what they practice here, magic. And as I said before, all nations have their sorcerers, magicians, priesthood. So Exodus 7 and 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Now let's jump down to the 11th verse. It says, then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers. Now the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. So he called his sorcerers, his magicians, you know, his with their enchantments. He called in what? His priesthood, to see what they could do dealing with this miracle that Moses and Aaron performed before him. They have consultors, they have counselors, priesthood, and they all double as the same thing. That's why when we read back in, let's see what it says for enchantment. Kabar enchantments. Kabar is a companion, but it also could be used for a magician, charmer, spell, because remember, you have a group of them coming together as companions with the same mentality. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Right? So it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Yeah, because you thought you were the shit. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, because you in the back of your mind, you're thinking you're doing the right thing. And mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, because it's not going to be a prayer or anything that you could do to stop the judgment that's coming for you. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Yeah, because it's going to come on a sudden. It says, so now when these things start happening, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. Yeah, so you rely on these things, you push these things, you make people sell out and worship these things in order for them to get riches. You know, you got that cup in their face, you know, pushing it down their throat. Well, hold on to that when all this hell start coming upon you. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. See? Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. See? So let them save you from these things that shall come upon thee. Call all your witches, your warlocks, you know. Perform your mistress of witchcraft ritual, and see if it's going to stop you from getting destroyed, as the Lord prophesied that you would be destroyed. It says, behold, they shall be as stubble. So they're going to die right with you. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before it, because there's not going to be anything left here in America. Thou shalt, Salakia, thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. And this goes hand in hand with Revelation 18. All right, now I've got a couple more precepts, and then we'll close it out. Let's go to Malachi 3 and 5. It says, and I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress their hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts. So this is judgment coming for you. Now let's go from there to Revelation 21 and 8. It says, but the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, abominable, murderers, whoremongers, sorcerers, and idolaters. This all of these fit America. And all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death, which is what? Those missiles and the lasers from the chariots. Now let's go from there to Revelation 22, which is the next chapter over, and 15. For without our daughter, start at 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. And you Israelites Especially here in America, 2/3 of you ain't gonna make it because you done sold out, or you're gonna sell out. You know, and whoever else is meant to get judgment from the Lord. Let's go to Revelation 19. But before I read that, let's go real quick because Revelation 19. What verse was that? No, that's 19. It's Revelation 9. Alright, so let's go to Revelation 18 first. And 23. It says, "And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee." This is after the destruction. "And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived." You know, and that's why I said that the world wondered after the beast. In Revelation 13, which I didn't get a chance to go to. There's other scriptures I didn't get a chance to go to, but that's all right. "And in her were found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth." And that's why the Lord is coming to judge this place. Revelation 9 and 20. "And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, which are the missiles, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts." So they didn't repent of their sorceries, which goes into what? Pharmakia. To use the use or the administering of drugs, poisoning, sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry and fostered by it. Metaphorically, the deceptions and seductions of idolatry. You know, what you got, you know, the Book of Spells, Wicca, you know, Alistair Crowley, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law, Alistair Crowley. Then you have being bewitched, cast a spell over, enchant and delight, or to cast a spell over somebody. You have smoke and mirrors. Something that is described as smoke and mirrors is intended to make you believe that something is being done or is true when it is not. You have Eyes Wide Shut. They show you what goes on behind the scenes in these movies. That's why they killed this guy, Stanley Kubrick, I believe his name was, Stanley Kubrick. You have these celebrities pushing the agenda of the elite. That's why you see a lot of, you know, certain things they wear, certain signs they throw up, hand signs they throw up, certain ceremonies that they have, which they'll call, you know, awards shows and all that. Those are nothing more than ceremonies. These open ceremonies through these cult prostitutes that are pushing the agenda of this so-called elite. You know, America, you know, that gazing stock. The Lord's gonna make this place a gazing stock. He's gonna destroy it. You know, so this has been stand with the multitude of thy sorceries. You know, and that's pretty much, you know, what it is. And America will be destroyed for all of this, all of these abominations that are done in the midst thereof. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified, you few sisters. Till the next time I say, Shalom.